sometimes my mind just slips away, tied up in the tangles of the day-to-day. But I choose to take this time to stand up in love and claim I'm here. This is when and where I'm here, no other than and there. I'm here to show up and fill my cup in the flow and the glow of this moment. I'm here. We all have other things to do, a million choices between me and you. But I know where I belong, right beside you singing this song. I'm here, this is when and where I'm here, no other than and there. I'm here to show up and fill my cup in the flow and the glow of this moment. I'm here. There's a holy time and place, golden opportunity to greet the world and say I'm here. This is when and where I'm here, no other than and there. I'm here to show up and fill my cup in the flow and the glow of this moment. I'm here. This is when and where I'm here, no other than and there. I'm here to show up and fill my cup in the flow and the glow of this moment. I'm here. Welcome to Unity on the Lakeshore on this glorious, sunshiny, beautiful day. I am so happy to be sharing this time with you this morning. Thank you for bringing your beautiful energy and share it so willingly with us. On drums, we have today Jack, and he is 15, yes? And Suzanne on piano, as always, selecting just the best songs for us. Chris on guitar. And of course, I'm Reverend G. Ludwig, and I wear whatever hat needs to be worn at whatever moment in time. We have Patty on AV, Thea and Jerry welcoming us. Carrie will do a reading later, Martin on meditation, and the goodies provided today by Marilyn and Carrie. It is such a good day. It is so good to be together and to sing. I'm here, this is when and where I'm here, no other than and there. I'm here to show up and fill my cup in the flow and the glow of this moment. I'm here.
I hear the music.
I hear the music
down in my soul.
Down in my soul.
I hear the music.
I hear the music
down in my soul.
Down in my soul.
I hear the music.
I hear the music
down in my soul.
Down in my soul. And the whole wide world is my home.
I got a new day.
I got a new day
down in my soul.
Down in my soul.
I got a new day.
I got a new day
down in my soul.
Down in my soul.
I got a new day.
I got a new day
down in my soul.
Down in my soul. And the whole wide world is my home.
I love the silence.
I love the silence
down in my soul.
Down in my soul.
I love the silence.
I love the silence
down in my soul.
Down in my soul.
I love the silence
I love the silence
down in my soul.
Down in my soul. And the whole wide world is my home.
I feel the power
I feel the power
down in my soul.
down in my soul.
I feel the power
I feel the power
down in my soul.
down in my soul.
I feel the power
I feel the power
down in my soul.
down in my soul. And the whole wide world is my home. Oh, yes, it is. And the whole wide world is my home. I am as God created me. I am a light in this world. I am as God created me. I am as God created me. I am a light in this world. I am as God created me. I am as God created me. I am a light in this world. I am as God created me. I am as God created me. I am a light in this world. I am as God created me. I am as God created me. I am a light in this world. I am as God created me. I am. As God created me, I am a light in this world. I am as God created me. I am as God created me. I am a light in this world. I am as God created me. I am. We stand in the presence with our hearts open, with flowing gratitude for being together, for sharing ourselves with each other, for spreading our love and our light. We're grateful for having the opportunity to expand our consciousness always. We're grateful that we can learn and we can grow and we can apply it all. We're grateful for who we truly are and for knowing that we are indeed all right, just as God created us. God created me. I am a light in this world. I am as God created me. I am.
Good morning. Today's reading is called Oneness by Ernest Holmes. There is one spirit incarnated in everyone, an immortal presence forever expanding everything, causing everything to grow. What a difference it would make in our human relations if we tried to sense the meaning of this divine incarnation in all people and adjust our viewpoint to the truth that all are bound together in the unity of God. While we may think otherwise, behind all of this vast array of life, there can be but one common cause, one universal mind, one infinite spirit flowing into, through, and becoming everything. We are so used to seeing ourselves as separate from each other that we suspect the very feeling and emotion that causes us to embrace everything in love. But the person who loves the most will live the most. We meet each other only in fragments, only partially, when we refuse to open the whole avenue of our consciousness to the realization that there is but one living spirit in, over, and through all. If our human relations are to mean the most to us, we must sense that there is within everyone a divine presence, manifesting itself in infinite variations. The same impulse, the same love and life, but never quite alike in any two persons.
That I may comfort, let me be your faith, that I'll believe. Let me be your voice, that I may sing of love. Let me be your touch, that I may heal. Let me be your breath for all to breathe. Let me be your sun and rise tenderly into a lonesome sky. Let me be your peace, that I may comfort. Let me be your faith, that I'll believe. Let me be your voice, that I may sing of love. Let me be your touch, that I may heal. Let me be your breath for all to breathe. Let me be your sun and rise tenderly into a lonesome sky.
Throughout human memory, the great teachers, avatars, and wayshowers have practiced a form of pulling away and putting aside the busy activities of ordinary life to experience the oneness and the truth of their being. Moses went to the mountaintop. Jesus went into the desert. The Siddhartha, who became Buddha, meditated until he experienced truth and peace. Let's begin to take our own vacation into our own silence by turning our attention within, gently releasing the distractions and busyness of ordinary life. as we breathe deep, peaceful, cleansing breaths. With each breath, we move closer to our center, to the truth of our being, to our oneness with the One. It is in this peaceful retreat that we are renewed, healed, encouraged, and loved. The one power and one presence of the universe has revealed itself as I am. I am. God is. Can we say that together? I am. God is. And so it is.
Now it's on. Okay. I am so happy to be here with you today. I had this dream last night that I knew it's fire service. I knew Jack was here for the first time, and I just couldn't wake up. And so Patty was waking me up, and I said, "You go ahead, and then I will follow you." And she said, "Okay, G, don't fall back to sleep." And then I did. And so I was in my dream, I was trying to wake up to make it here, but I just couldn't. So I opened my eyes, and Suzanne stands at the end of my bed. And she looks at me and says, "Gee, where were you?" And I'm trying to save it, in the silliest way that we do, out of the ego. So I tried to make light of it. And I said, "Oh, how was it?" And she said, "Well, the music was wonderful. Jack was there, but where were you?" And that was a nightmare, I have to tell you. And then, of course, we wake up in the morning as we were supposed to. The alarms go off, and we do wake up. And Patty's down there preparing coffee, and I come down there, and we start taking care of the morning chores, dogs and cats and us. And I look outside, and I say, well, one thing about this change of time, at least it's light outside. And then we both start thinking, light outside? It should be 6 a.m. It shouldn't be that light. Well, our phones jumped back 2 hours instead of 1. So we still got up an hour late. My dream, my nightmare almost became reality. And so we just rushed out of the car, but still it was Suzanne who got a ticket and not us. Yeah, I did. So good to be here with you today. There's this guy, and he decides to check out one city after the other to find the place where he wants to settle. And he comes up to this town, and he knocks on the gate of the city, and the gatekeeper opens the gate and says, "Hello, welcome, come on in." And the guy says, "Well, before I come in, I just would like you to tell me what sort of people live in this town." And he said, "Okay, let me ask you this question. What sort of people lived in the town that you left behind?" And he said, "Oh, they were mean. They were nasty. They were angry. They were just not nice people at all, unkind, unloving, not friendly at all." And the guy said, the gatekeeper said, "Well, I hate to tell you, the same kind of people live here too." So the guy says, "Then I won't even bother. I'm just going to keep on going." Okay, suit yourself. Pretty soon another guy knocks on the gate, and the gatekeeper opens the door, and he says, "Oh, welcome, come on in." And he said, "Well, first, let me ask you, what sort of people live in this town of yours?" And he said, "Well, what sort of people lived in the town that you left behind?" And he said, "Oh, they were the loveliest people ever, just loving and kind and welcoming and joyful. It's just a delight." And he said, "Well, welcome. Same kind of people live here too." And isn't that the truth? That what we look for, we find. And we think that reality creates our thoughts, creates our feelings, when in fact, our prejudices do. The way we see the world, so is the world. And I know that we would like to believe that, okay, reality is not what appears to be, but surely God is. Surely what we know of God, that is so. And we know it because it's in the Bible, it is presented to us, it is quite clear to us. And we're not too quick to assume that we have created God in our image. For the Bible states that God created us in His image. Well, I beg to differ. I'm convinced that we have created God in our image. And we have created God in our image as we are, based on our prejudices. Let me give you just a very short introduction to, and I have given this to you before, so the first part I'm repeating myself here, okay? So first, when humanity came into being and came into self-consciousness, the belief was that God was in everything. It was in animals, it was in people, and it was in objects, and in trees, and in nature. Wherever you looked, there was God, animism. So God is in us, and it is in every one of us and everything of us. That was the beginning. Then, as we had become more self-aware, and as the ego started to develop, the polytheism enters the history, the consciousness of humanity, when the belief is that gods live among us. There are gods among us. You never know who is a god and who isn't, so you might as well treat everybody as if they were a divinity, a god, because you don't know who is God and who isn't. And if you don't treat them right and they happen to be a god, you may end up finding yourself pushing a big stone up a mountain forever, and just as you get up there, it rolls back down, and there you get to start all over again. Sisyphus, yeah? So, God not in us, but among us. It starts out God in us, then God among us. And then Judaism comes into picture, and now God is removed from us. God doesn't live here anymore. God lives in the heavens. But still, dualism hasn't completely settled into the consciousness of humanity. So there is, although God is no longer in us, is not among us, God doesn't live here anymore, lives in the heavens, dualism hasn't completely set in anymore. So God can initiate contact with us human beings, and God does do that. God talks to Moses, and then talks to Abraham, or first Abraham and then Moses. So God initiates contact and is communicating with human beings quite clearly. However, it appears that there's no initiation going the other way. You see, it can't be. Either God initiates communication, but we can't do it. Except one time when Moses keeps pushing and says, come on, I want to see you. You ask so much of me. I have got to see you. You got to show me yourself. And then finally God says, okay, we'll make a compromise, okay? And he says, okay, go there, stand there, and now open your eyes. And Moses stands, and there's a big mountain, and sees the back of God disappearing behind the mountain. This is the one time that human being initiates contact with God. And I make it mean that somehow us human beings always get to see the history, that which has been, that which God has already created, and not that which is God to reveal, yet to reveal, because God shows his back to Moses. So you see how consciousness develops, and how we keep separating. As consciousness develops, as self-awareness develops, we become more and more separate from God. We make ourselves more separate in our belief system. And then there comes Jesus. And the way he is presented, remember, Jesus didn't write anything down. The first person to write about Jesus is Paul. And he writes about 50, the year 50, Common Era. So by now Jesus had been dead for about 20 years, a good 20 years. And so he has never met Jesus in person, but he had an experience of Jesus. And then he writes. And his depiction of God is, and of Jesus, because here's the deal. In Christianity, eventually, God comes down and lives again amongst human beings in Jesus, who Christians call the Christ as well. So God lives again among people, and there has to be a reason for God to come and sort of invade humanity. So the reason that Augustine, and I talked about this last week, the reason that Augustine gives is the original sin, which he creates. This is a creation that happens 400 years, Common Era, 400 years after Jesus dies, right? That's when Augustine introduces the idea of original sin. So the idea is that humanity is so sinful that it needs to be saved from the sins. And so Jesus does that. Jesus is God who comes down here, and God sacrifices Jesus, who is the Son of God. And with that, the atonement, our sins are atoned for. And I love the Gospel of John because he is the one he writes latest. So first Paul writes, then Mark, then Matthew, then Luke, then John. And John presents a totally different image of this atonement, of why Jesus came and who Jesus was. But the evolution of consciousness goes as this. The Apostle Paul, who writes first, in around the year 50, he says that God, in Jesus, reconciled the world to himself through the act of the death on the cross. God reconciled the world to himself, and he gave Jesus this power upon the resurrection. That's when God allowed Jesus to take on this power. And this is a theory that is known as adoptionism, that God adopted Jesus into his own. And this theory, which Paul, of course, writes about, was rejected, and St. Augustine is the one who rejects it, as adoptionism. He says that's a heresy. Whatever Paul was teaching there, that's a heresy, even though it's in the Bible. And then Mark writes, and Mark says, well, Jesus, when he was baptized, up until then, he's an adult male, fully human, up till the moment of his baptism. Then he is being baptized, and that moment, the sky opens, and the Spirit of God lands upon his shoulder in the form of a dove. That's when Jesus is infused by godness, by divinity. That's when Jesus becomes God. He knows nothing, nor does Paul. Paul writes first, and then Mark. They know nothing about the virgin birth. They have absolutely no concept. They never heard about this. Don't you think they would have written about it had they heard about it? That this virgin birth thing happened, and Jesus is therefore the Son of God. Matthew, however, and Luke are the ones who first introduced the idea of this virgin birth, and that Jesus was God from the birth, you see? So with Paul, it's the theory of adoptionism. Next one who writes, Mark, he becomes God-infused upon his baptism. Matthew and Luke keep altering, keep changing the story to fit the teaching that they want to bring to the people, and they say he was God from birth. And John comes in, and he presents a totally different image. He says, the Word was with God, and Jesus is the Word. So Jesus existed in the God presence from the beginning of times. Jesus was God always, couldn't be anything else. When he showed up, God showed up among us. John doesn't know about this sinful nature that Augustine speaks about. He couldn't conceive of the need for atonement, because remember what I talked to you about last week, how sacrifice, what the cross, the way Augustine presented the death on the cross is the ultimate sacrifice that God makes Jesus pay for your sin and my sin. He presents a God that cannot and will not forgive, who does not know how to forgive. It's probably the worst prison anybody could live in, not knowing how to forgive. That the only way I can forgive if I kill, if I have a living sacrifice. That is a very primitive understanding of appeasing the gods. In those days, animal sacrifice was very, very common. In fact, the temple, that was the whole sole purpose of the temple in Jerusalem. They were presenting sacrifice to God, animal sacrifice 24/7, constantly. So, of course, because that is the level of consciousness, that's the only thing that can come out of. That's the only way we can think on, the only level we can think on. There has to be atonement, an ultimate sacrifice then. And it's got to be the sacrifice of God itself for your sin and my sin. And John doesn't know about this. He says, no. I have been with God. I have been in the presence. I am the presence of God. It's always been that way, and it will be that way forever. That is who I am. And then he gives this presentation of the vine. He says, I am the vine, and you are the branches. You and I are one. Your only job is to stay attached to the vine. The only way you can work, the only way you can fulfill your destiny, if you stay attached to the vine. I am God. The Father has given me everything, and I am giving it to you. The Father is love. I am love, and so are you. So therefore, I have just one commandment to give you. Love one another as I have loved you. And I have shown you the love that I am. I was able to put aside my instinct for survival, for security. And I was able to give my life in love for you. That is the kind of love that I am. And if you enter through this door that I have opened for you, I am your way shower. You will engage a spirit that is all loving, all expansive, that is going to catapult you onto levels of consciousness you can't even conceive of. You think that these miracles that I do are something, you should see the things you will be doing. They will be greater than the ones that I'm doing now. And I give you just one commandment. Love one another as I have loved you. That's it. God is love. So am I. And so are you. So now, I would like you to take a minute and picture somebody you really love. Maybe your parents, maybe your children, maybe your pets, maybe your friend, maybe your spouse. The one that you think of and your insides turn into that gooey wonderfulness. So picture them. And now experience that love that flows through every vein that is in your body, that oozes from every pore of you. And just allow yourself to feel that. Bask in that gooey wonderfulness. And let it just fill you up. Let it become you. You are now the wonder of love, where all healing is possible, where life is easy and effortless, where beauty and inspiration flows, where you feel light and pure, completely supported. You're in harmony with all that is, with nature, with the entire universe, the animal kingdom, the divine itself, and all people around you. This love can sustain you and take you from one day to the next. In fact, it does. This is why you keep opening your eyes, why you get up in the morning. This is what keeps you going. You are truly living the I love the other. As I have loved you. So now you know what love feels like. You're reminded. It is intensified in you. So now, I want you to picture someone else. I want you to picture someone whom you have found challenging, to say the least, in your life. Somebody that you think of, and in the pit of your stomach, you get that stressful feeling. That one who you lose your peace to every single time. That one who makes being alive a dreadful experience. The one who is challenging your very core. The one who is impossible to forgive. It may be your boss, your parents, your in-laws, your children, the nasty neighbor, that thorn in your side. And now think the impossible. What would happen if you cured them with love? What would happen if you have loved them? If you have lived the greatest commandment, love one another as I have loved you. And I invite you to think of that now. I invite you to be with that once you leave the confines of this building, the comfort of your spiritual community. And I invite you to contemplate that Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and that dreadful Thursday that is not Friday yet. What would this relationship look like if I have cured it with that greatest love? Because inspiration, my friends, is nothing without internalization. Inspiration without action, without transporting it into practice, is 100% wasted. So let us be the community that acts upon our inspiration. Let us be the community that is unafraid to love. Unafraid to claim that who we are and that who the others are as well. The same love, the same divine. And I am just so curious to see what our world can look like with that kind of love in action. Thank you.
Usually there are announcements. Here's a song from the 80s that I think I sang here maybe the first month I ever was at Unity. A couple of cool ladies that I heard in Wheeling, West Virginia. And gosh, I don't know what year that was, 91 or something. I'm trying to tell you something about my life. Maybe give me insight between black and white. And the best thing you've ever done for me is to help me take my life less seriously. It's only life after all. Yeah. Well, darkness has a hunger that's insatiable, and lightness has a call that's hard to hear. And I wrap my fear around me like a blanket. I sailed my ship of safety till I sink it. I'm crawling on your shore. Well, I went to the doctor and I went to the mountains. I looked to the children and I drank from the fountains. There's more than one answer to these questions, pointing me in a crooked line. And the less I seek my source from some definitive, closer I am to find. Well, I went to see the doctor of philosophy with a poster of Rasputin and a beard down to his knees. And he never did marry or see a B-grade movie. He graded my performance. He said he could see through me. I spent 4 years prostrate to the higher mind. Got my paper and I was free. Well, I went to the doctor and I went to the the mountains, looked to the children, and I drank from the fountains. There's more than one answer to these questions, pointing me in a crooked line. And the less I seek my source from some definitive, closer I am to find. Closer I am to find, yeah. Closer I am to find. Thank you.
So it is good for us to be together, to be part of this community that lives together, that creates a safe haven and an environment where we can all learn and grow and become all that we can be. And it is our delight to also support every way we can this spiritual community. So please say with me, I give with love because I love to give. The ushers would please collect the offerings. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. Ooh, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of men. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Before we bless the offerings, there are a few announcements that I would like to bring to your attention, and I invite you to always consult your bulletin for announcements. As you see, the color swatch is here on the wall. We are in the process of repainting our sanctuary. It needs a nice facelift. And so I always say, as within, so without, and we're matching the without to the within. And these are our two options. We have narrowed them down. We are doing everything feng shui. So according to feng shui, this area of the building is the fire or the spirit quadrant of the building, and the color for that is a red. So we're choosing red because this is where Spirit is being spoken from, right? Comes through. And we're changing also the color of, so red will be just this indentation, that's all. And then the rest will be either that gold or that yellow, according to your votes. We have a sheet of paper on this side and one on this side. So I would like you to consider which would bring you peace, and I will try to make my peace with whatever the majority decides to go with. And all is well, and all is peace, and all is good. The classes are in your announcements, so please consult and sign up as you wish to. We have a potluck coming up the Sunday before Thanksgiving, which is wonderful. We love to share the bread, to break the bread together and eat together and just have a jolly good time. So that is wonderful. Sylvia also has an announcement. If you would be so kind to come and speak into the mic so people can hear you.
Every year for the last 4 years, I've done a sleep out for the homeless. It's called Hearts for the Homeless. And we collect money for the homeless of Allegan County, and this money is earmarked for people who would fall through the cracks, who are working but aren't making enough money to have a permanent domicile. So they don't qualify for federal grants. And so I sleep out with, there's going to be 16 other people, and we collect money by asking for your support. I've been getting anywhere from $5 to $250. So if you're inclined to give today, I'd really appreciate anything. And if you feel like you want to sleep out, there's still time. Then we also have a dinner the night of the sleep out, and it's lasagna, salad, rolls, and dessert. And there's an auction we collect from the merchants in both towns. And they're very generous, and we have merchandise services and gift certificates. So you can do some early Christmas shopping. But we hope that you can come to that. It starts at 5, where you can look at the items. 6 is dinner, and 7 is the auction, and then we have entertainment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sylvia. And as you know, Unity on the Lake Shore tithes every month a certain portion of our love offerings, a certain percentage of our love offering, we give to a local charity. So November, the month of November, our tithe is going to your cause. So naturally, the larger the love offering for the church, the larger the donation to you. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Thank you very much for supporting that wonderful cause, and we are behind you 100%. Do we have visitors here for the very first time? All I ask you to please hold up your hand. We have a packet of information that we would like to give to you. And there is also a card on that packet. If you would be so kind to fill it out and just drop it on your way out, and we hope to have you back as it is right for you. Please, over there. Just one. And how about you, sir?
I'm old-time Unity. I travel around the country.
Okay.
Music and Unity Church.
All right.
Someday I would love to get to play some piano here.
Sure.
I have a 40-acre music healing center in Colorado.
Okay, I'd love to meet you afterwards. All right. So we thank you so much. Ushers, if you would be so kind to come forward. We bless these offerings in absolute gratitude. We bless our beautiful hearts, our goodwill, and our hopeful future together. And together we say thank you, thank you, thank you. Please all stand and let's hold hands. The first row, that you would turn back to the back of the church. And we shall say the prayer for protection, which today is not on the... It is there. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Remember to vote for the colors.